YouTube live dashboard.
There it is.
I know it very well.
Hi. Hi, everybody. Welcome in. Hannah Delilah, everyone.
Hello.
Hello. Welcome to the Songwriters Lounge. You are a songwriter, and this is the lounge. I think we should have the microwave running, or the smell of popcorn, burnt popcorn, or something like.
As a former teacher, I appreciate
like
that.
a teacher's lounge. Yeah. That was the concept. There was one of the first times some of the peanut gallery was here that somebody was over there running the microwave. I'm like, that is perfect. The sound of the microwave running, and I said, all we need is the smell of burnt popcorn or something awful in the microwave. And
someone's smelly food in the fridge. Yeah.
We have many of those things.
Cupcakes conspicuously placed on the counter.
Conspicuous cupcakes. I was in that band. I don't know.
Prog rock for sure.
That's you have to think of what they did and what city they were from. What city would Conspicuous Cupcakes be from?
I'll say Columbia, Missouri.
There you go. All right, I like it. Well, welcome. I'm so glad you're here. The Songwriters Lounge started as the Stream to No One, which was sad little man with no one to play music with.
Usually the way it goes.
Right, that was me. And I just started turning a camera on and playing to a camera, and then lo and behold, people started showing up here, and we started talking about songwriting, and it turned into something different. Mm-hmm. And then I started meeting all these wonderful songwriters, like yourself, and asking them to come talk about how they do this, and here we are. And we met at Katie's open mic with Riverlands on Sunday nights, which is a delightful place.
It is.
And that was the night, as I've mentioned several times on the show, where you and our fabulous, what is your title again? I forget every week. Production manager, right. I forget every week. Production manager Josette challenged me to a point where my brain was oozing out of my ears just a little bit, in the best possible way.
Yeah.
I thought it was a wonderful, stimulating conversation that I was like really challenged in a way that people should be challenged more, and I enjoyed it thoroughly. And but I will say that I did drive home all the way home with the radio off, like. Looking down and then looking up, and then really contemplating many of the things.
You, my goodness.
Well, no, I wouldn't say broke. Just challenged me in a way that it made me really rethink. I thought I was a pretty open-minded, thoughtful person, and yet still there were many things that I needed to make sure that I was.
The world is a big, beautiful place.
Well, that it is. I agree, and that's why it was such a wonderful conversation, and so I appreciated it and still do to this day. So, and then I was fortunate enough to do sound at a couple of things where you were an artist. You played bass in one thing, and then you were a featured artist for Demi, and heard a bunch of your original material and was completely blown away. That night, and that was wonderful, and so definitely wanted to get you on to talk about the process and your writing, and you talked a little bit about it there, but I wanted to hear definitely more. So I appreciate you being here, and I was stunned at your vocal range, the way that you approach songwriting. I wouldn't say, I don't want to use the word unorthodox, but like almost just unexpected for me, like a perspective or an approach that caught me off guard, but just great. So I really, really enjoyed it, so that was great. And but the most important question I really wanted to ask was, what is your favorite color?
God, that's a great question. I've had many of them over the years.
Your favorite changes.
It does. I'm a fickle woman for sure. But more than that, when you are presenting as a boy, as a man for most of your life, and then you start to open yourself up to girly things, your favorites start to change.
Sure.
My favorite color was like light blue for most of my life. It was like sky blue, which I still love that color, but it's definitely changed to lavender more than anything.
Okay.
I love the lavender leaves or lavender flowers that blossom on thyme. Thyme is my favorite herb. I'd love to grow it and then garnish with the lavender.
I was going to say, how do you know when it's on time?
Ha
Ha!
That's a good joke. Thanks, Dad.
I can't help it. I have 6 kids. It's not my fault. Well, it sort of is, but anyways.
Yeah, so I love lavender.
Oh, good.
It's also very gay.
Okay, if you insist. But there's, as I explained earlier, there are things that sometimes I just go on when it comes to that because I just was, I don't know, oblivious to. Is that okay? I'm gonna have to take your word for it. What is what would you say is the thing that drives you to work?
My car.
Yeah, that was what I was hoping you would say.
Do you mean like work as in like do the music, the work of songwriting and stuff? I would say like I don't know, trauma mostly.
Many of us, it's the same thing.
Yeah, we're working through heartbreak and grief, and kind of plumbing the depths of my soul and pulling out and seeing what I see. But then like taking its power away. When I write a song about an event, and I'm gonna sing a song about that today. I can take that event, that thing, even if it was traumatic, even if it was really hard, and there's a lot of sadness within it. I can take that thing, and it loses all of its power, and I get to look at it. I get to hold it in my hand. I get to have it stare back at me, and I get to stare at it, and I get to learn what it actually was, rather than the way that it blew up in my brain. You know, the way that you spin and spin and spin. Instead, I get to look at it as a concrete thing that happened. So that's a lot of my songs. Otherwise, I just, I don't know. I wrote a love song for the first time just a few months ago, which is really cute. Kind of a pseudo love song, but I've always been bad at that.
Yeah.
Because I always felt cliche. It never felt like it was coming from me. But that's because I wasn't speaking from an authentic voice. So. Well,
and that's hard. Like I can relate to that in a way where I couldn't write happy songs. Like it took me a long time to understand that I was processing the things that were difficult and sad from my youth and childhood and all the troubles and then there were points where I'd be like, I haven't written anything in a while. Maybe it's because everything's going good, and I don't know really how to write things about that part of my life. And then when things would start going cruddy, then I'd be able to write again. And I think I can relate to the thing that, like, if it doesn't come from a place where you're, I don't know, used to or authentic or something that's where you're normally used to coming from, then you have to challenge yourself to find out how to live from that perspective. I've mentioned a couple times to people recently that this week we started this writers club, a bunch of us, and that is to challenge all of us in our own ways to challenge the things that we are weak at. We write songs, but all of us write from this one perspective or one or two perspectives, and so now try to make ourselves exercise the parts that we.
And writing is a discipline. It's not that, like, I used to think that it was this like inspired thing that I would come up with these songs, but realistically, it's about setting aside the time to write. And the way I do it is poetry. I just write poetry and write poetry and write poetry, no matter what it is, no matter how simple. If it's about a frog, if it's about the girl that I like, if it's about like my parents or something, all of that poetry, I get to take it and it's mine. and I get to steal from it.
Yeah.
And that's how I do it. It's like,
I think-
but I have to be disciplined in writing that poetry and doing that on a daily basis to actually have something authentic and good come out of it.
I agree, because then you have places to distill out you have enough stuff to distill out the things, and if you only have a little bit to distill from, well, then you only end up with a tiny little bit. It's like
Exactly.
I guess the metaphor would be this is a long story, so hang on, but it's got a funny line at the end. When I was like 19 or 20, we rented this house, and at one time there had been this in-ground pool. But they had filled it in with dirt because it was apparently collapsing or something. And my mom was a pretty neurotic, kind of very nervous person. I don't know, Barney Fife without a gun, sort of. My mom was very. But she just pretended like she didn't know that I was smoking weed with my friends or whatever. We went out in the backyard and we're smoking weed right when we first moved in. I know, right? And right when we first moved in the spring, and apparently somebody had taken all the seeds back when weed still had seeds, because I'm that old. I don't even think weed has seeds anymore. And he threw all the seeds in this part of the black dirt. Well, at some point in the middle of the summer, all this weed starts growing, like these plants start growing up. I'm like, among all these other wild crud that's just growing out of there, but I'm like, that's pot for sure. I'm sure of it. Mm-hmm. And one little plant grew, and then this other giant plant grew. I didn't know anything about growing pot. And apparently, that's sort of how it goes or whatever, but we picked all the stuff, and the one little plant yielded this tiny little bag, and the other plant yielded like a 1/4 pound of weed. It was like, this is great. Well, the 1/4 pound was junk. But the tiny little bit of, distilled, that was great weed. But it was only this little bit, and so we only got a little bit of the good stuff. Mm-hmm. And then the giant crud was junk. It was junk. But we only got a little bit of the good stuff because we didn't have enough of the...
But you had the good stuff, though.
Well,
you got it.
Not so much. Anyways. But the funny part was my mom went... that summer there was a shortage of weed. Apparently the people that I was friends with found out that there was weed growing in my backyard and that I had some. Mm-hmm. I didn't sell weed ever. I was never a pot distributor of any kind.
Yeah.
Randomly, I would get, "Hey, Marsden, what's going on? I haven't seen you since like 5th grade. What are you doing?" "I don't know. What's anything new?" "Well, apparently you heard that there's weed in my mom was like, I said, "I have this cruddy weed. It's garbage. I'll sell it to you for next to nothing." Like, but I'm telling you that I don't want you mad at me because it's cruddy weed, and they'd be like, "I'll take 2. "You didn't even try it." My mom was like, "You made how much money off that? Next year we'll plant corn in front of that so nobody sees it." So I don't know. I'm pretty sure the statute of limitations has run out on that because that was like 1989. But
I mean, you're allowed to have 5 plants now. So.
Are you?
Yeah.
You weren't in 1989.
No.
But once she realized that I made a couple $100 off of weed growing in the backyard, she was like, "You could plant corn in front of that and nobody would know, I think." I'm like, "I don't really want to do that, Mom, but I appreciate you being willing to roll with that."
The ingenuity, the support. I love it.
Well, we were pretty poor.
Yeah.
Do you have a song that you'd like to play for the audience?
Sure, yeah. I love playing songs. It's like my favorite thing. Let's do the one that I played earlier. It's a good one. This is called Flower Girl. I wrote this song a long time ago. And you'll hear my one of my names in it. And it's about this girl. And I used to know this girl last December. That now I can't seem to remember. Maybe it was Delilah, it was too late. Maybe it was Rose, it was the cold. Maybe it was Delilah, it was too late. Maybe it was rose. Maybe it was the cold sting of defeat. But I know I loved her. And we'd build sand castles in the snow, and the sun would show her face in the sky so low, low. And I wish I knew her name, and I wish I knew her name. Wow, wow. Maybe it was Delilah. Maybe it was too late. Maybe it was a rose. Maybe it was the cold. Think about her every day. I think about her every day. I think about her every I know I loved her. I know I loved her. And I used to know this girl last December.
Beautiful. Outstanding. When did you write that one?
I wrote that in like, I don't even know, 2012, 2013.
So not too recent.
Yeah. But it has definitely changed over the years.
Yeah.
I originally like was imagining this girl, and it was kind of about an ex, kind of, but not really. And then it kind of shaped and morphed, and I've learned to love it a lot because it's really about me. It's about this this girl that was always there, you know, and I was like, I felt her, but I couldn't actually name her. And so it was like this searching for this name of who this girl is. I know that she's been here. I know that she wants to come out and shine. She wants to see the sun, you know. And eventually she showed up.
Well, here she is.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
I think that's beautiful.
Thanks.
And congratulations on that.
Thanks.
You're welcome. Would I surprise you by congratulating you? Well, no. I mean, I don't care. I don't care what anybody says. The level of bravery it takes to at any point in your life, whenever it is, to be honest, truly with who you are.
To trans your gender, even.
Yes. Yeah, without a doubt. But it is inspiring to me to. It truly was like that. The biggest takeaway from meeting you and the conversation from that night was the level of bravery and I don't know if there's even another word that's necessary. Like just bravery for facing all that you knew that you would face, just to be the person that you knew that you had to be, the person that you just are. Like it's not a choice, regardless of what anybody tries to say or whatever any of that other BS is, and anybody with a half a brain knows that, and it still doesn't make it any easier. It doesn't make any of those choices anything that is any kind of a thing that is no less painful for all of the parts that are painful. And I have nothing but respect and for yourself and anyone at any age, young or any point in your life where you choose to stand up and say who you are. I just admire.
And I, it's not a choice to be trans or to be gay or be queer or whatever. It is a choice to stand up and step out of the closet, right? Like our society, especially if you're in certain communities, like I was, I was in evangelical Christianity. My family, I came out as gay in 2014, and so like when I did that, I lost my job. My sister fired me. Like I was working at the church. I was that was my whole community. That was my entire support network. And many times when people come out, like that's what you are risking. So the choice to come out, it isn't really a choice of like, can I be who I want to be? Is it, can I be who I want to be and survive?
And survive. It's a survival choice.
Yes.
Right.
And so like for me, even, with my transness, with my femininity, with who I really am, coming out as gay was like me not knowing how to name it, not really knowing what that was. But knowing that like, because I didn't have a frame of reference. I didn't know any queer people. I didn't know any gay people. I was so steeped inside of the church. I was like, oh, I guess I'm gay. And so when I came out as gay, it was like, I started to tap into my femininity, right? And then, as a lot of times happens, you start to tap into those things, and then people drag you back into the closet. And that's what happened to me for 8 years when I was with my ex-wife and everything. It was like, it was easier for me to gain access to my nieces and nephews, right? To gain access to my parents, to have financial assistance if I needed it, to have a wife that cared about me and loved me as a husband, no less. As a wife, she wasn't a lesbian, right? She was really jealous of my queerness in a lot of ways and was afraid of it. And so I just stayed in the closet for as long as I had to be safe. And then eventually it just became untenable. And that's the way it goes. And then you just kind of burst out. And I'm kind of, 3 years after that, and here I am.
Well, I think it's delightful. Mm-hmm. I admire you greatly. And I think it's inspiring in so many different ways. So
it's beautiful. Trans people are beautiful. Like in general, like that. I'm obsessed with trans people.
Well, I think it's wonderful, and although I've always tried to be as open-minded as I could. I know obviously I have a long way to go, but I appreciate your help in opening my eyes a little bit in a direction that they needed a little help, and it's been great. So far so good, and hopefully you will keep reminding me of the things that
Mm-hmm.
perhaps you should look a little closer at. In the conversations we've had, it's been wonderful. So I have forgotten, and I realized this because as I said before we started, it's your job to go ahead and go off track. It's my job to bring us back on track. I have a little board of things that what we do. And the next thing is album side of the week, and I forgot to pick an album side of the week. It's the first time I've ever done that.
Oh, no.
Now, do you ever listen to records? Do you have a record player, or have you?
I would love one. I'm just poor.
That's okay. I didn't have one. Somebody bought me a record before I had an album the beginning of last summer, and I didn't even have a record player. They bought me an album as a gift, and I was like, well, that's cool, but I don't have a record player. But then what happened was I bought a not too terribly expensive record player, and now I have a handful of records over there.
And an audiophile.
It's been fun, and it's as I've said many times. What it does is it forces you to pay attention to what you're listening to, and what while there's a wonderful number of things that a playlist or something will do for you, which will introduce you to things maybe you wouldn't have known, or will keep going when you don't have to think about it. But what happens is you stop paying attention to it, and it just keeps going. Whereas when you have to pick an album or flip it over every 20 minutes, 15 minutes, it keeps you engaged with the music you're listening to for a couple hours, and there's something positive from that too.
As a former music student, I love to listen to albums. I love to just sit and listen. Like I'll listen to an entire like symphony or whatever. Like,
well, and the other thing is that giant piece of art that you're looking at, then you can read all the stuff that's in it. And that was the other thing that has been lost in people. The consumption of music is that when I was a kid, you would get a record, and before you even played it, you like if you were driving home, if you were young enough where you didn't even drive yet, you'd read like everything on the album before you even played it, because you were just craving whatever information you could get from it. And then while it played, you'd open it. If it had it open, you'd read every liner note.
Sensory experience or multi-sensory experience. Yeah.
And that was the wonderful thing. And then when CDs, there would be the cover, but it would be so small, and even you never read it, and people would stop doing that. And now there's none of that. So I think there's a number of reasons why people are interested in it again. And at first I was like, yeah, whatever. But I don't know. I sort of get it. It was an accident. I was like, eh.
Now you just go to Instagram.
Well, I do really enjoy playing records, and I'm ashamed of myself for not picking out one this week. So
I'm pretty mad at you, and everyone is going to be very very upset with you. So I'm glad that you feel shame.
I do feel shame. So I think that Blue, can you just run over there and randomly pick any record out of the middle of that stack and bring it over here, and that'll be the. Thank you. It's so wonderful to have people. For the longest time, I told you when I did this, I just did this as a sad little person in here by myself. And I would say the staff didn't show up again.
It's a good joke.
But they keep showing up. It's great.
I have so many good ones.
I don't know. You were just supposed to not look and just grab the.
No, I can't do that.
Yeah. So I didn't do the research, which I normally do the research. Oh, the Georgia Satellites. Look at what he grabbed. That's a good one. Now, are you familiar with this? No? Georgia Satellites. 1986. It's very rock and roll, kind of just straight up, three chords kind of song.
Three chords and the truth.
Yeah, kind of. It's just, very Rolling Stones-ish kind of. And in 1986, I was a junior in high school when this came out. And I bought this record. I bought this cassette, and I pretty much burned it out. But there's a song that I still play to this day that I wrote with my friends based on this record, and it's called Dirty Old Car. Dirty Old Car is based on this record. For anyone who's ever heard it, it's that camera over there. We literally ripped off. So we'll go with side one because I know it has "Keep Your Hands to Yourself," which was a big hit. Don't Hand Me No Lines and Keep Your Hands to Yourself. But Railroad Steel, Battleship Chains, Red Light, and Myth of Love. Battleship Chains, is it? Railroad Steel, we literally stole. I guess we would say borrow. Borrow would be the right thing. There's like a rock and roll like stop and
Yeah.
we were 17, almost 18. We're like, let's do that thing that they do on that Georgia Satellites record. And you're like, yeah, okay. I don't think I had any idea that I'd still be playing the song when I was 56. So, but I do.
It's okay to steal things. That's how you make art.
Yeah, that's borrowing. I still play that song, and so much so that people actually yell it sometimes when I play, and it's kind of fun. So that's the album side of the week. Good choice, Blue. I think that's a good one. So let's see what are some of my other questions? I should write some of those down. Did I ask you what your favorite ice cream is?
No.
What's your favorite ice cream?
That's a.
Do you know how I came up with what's your favorite color?
How?
Did you ever see Elf?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm Buddy the Elf. What's your favorite color?
Yeah.
Right. Okay, so that's it. That's really.
Bye,
the
buddy. Hope you find it. Yeah.
Right, Buddy the Elf. What's your favorite color? Right.
Yeah.
So, anyways.
So favorite ice cream. Wow. They're all my beautiful children. How can I pick a favorite?
That's a great answer right there. They're all my beautiful children.
I love anything with cookie dough in it.
Okay.
But if I had to like choose a flavor, like just a flavor, not a mix in, you know, I would choose for sure vanilla.
Really?
Yeah, it's a great flavor. Vanilla is a wonderful little spice.
Vanilla is my favorite choice. It's, whenever people say that, and I say vanilla, and they go, "What's wrong with you?" It's my favorite.
It's
I like
the
a-
default
just-
for a reason.
I just like. It has to be a good. It doesn't even have to be a good vanilla, but like a nice, like, well-made vanilla ice cream, like or a French vanilla, something with deep, rich.
There's a reason why every dessert gets a little bit of vanilla in it. It's delicious. It's amazing. It's magical.
It is my favorite kind of ice cream.
Especially if you got little vanilla beans in it. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Right. See. All right. We're together on that one. So you played a song that was very what'd you say, 13 years to 12 years old.
Yeah.
So like I just finished this song 2 days ago.
Nice.
And I usually don't do this, and I played it at an open mic last night, and I was I'm really enjoying it. So the chances of me really driving this one into the side of a brick wall are really high. So
I have faith in you.
Well,
Mostly. Don't fucking.
that's okay. You can, but I mean, but it's okay. It's just as much fun to crash into the brick wall sometimes as anything. But I started. I didn't know even what I was writing about, and it turned out to be about scars.
Like emotional scars or
Yes.
like physical?
Well, I'm both sort of, but mostly emotional.
Okay.
So
I'm here for it.
we'll see if we can play it without crashing. Okay, that's not it. Focus seems to come and go, and all at once can't seem to find the one damn thing eluding me. Always thought he was sitting there, just waiting out the end of the day. Then I peel the onion back, look at that now. Nothing ever is what I always thought it was supposed to be. I think this so-called moral compass is obsolete. Why does it seem my right is always wrong? Can't even seem to write this song. Never know which way to go. My heading back further out to sea. Gotta do what I gotta do. It's all starting to rust. There's a reason hard decisions are hard, and I don't think I can take the pain. This is gonna leave a scar. It's not changing. Yet. There we go. What now, where do I go? Never really seem to know, 'cause indecision plagues my every move. Learn not to trust myself, 'cause I didn't trust myself enough to trust myself. Ain't that the damnedest thing? Gotta do what I gotta do. all starting to rust. There's a reason all decisions are hard. I don't think I can take the pain. This is gonna leave a scar. All I wanna do is change my way. All I wanna do is ease the pain. Keep trying, but it never goes away. So damn tired of being stuck in the ditch. Life is a son of a bitch, and I just wanna get up and on the road between the lines and drive away. Up on the road and drive away. Keep it between the lines and drive away. Wasn't awful. I messed up a few lines. But, well, you know,
It's new.
right? Because like you write out what you want to say, and then you get there, and you're like, nope, I got past it in my brain. I'm like, nope, that isn't.
You're
what
editing while you're singing.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah, I've been there.
It wasn't exactly what I wanted to say right
Yeah.
there, but I just keep going. But it's the gist of it, and it's one of those deals, you know, like there's. I had said to my therapist, what did she say? She said something about. When you get to like something about like when you get to a good place, or when you feel like you're good or whatever, and I said, I don't think I've ever really gotten there. I feel like I'm a car that I'm in the ditch, and I get right up to the thing, and then it just slides back into the ditch, and never really get up on the road and get going.
Very
And
Sisyphusian.
I don't. Oh, that's the rock dude,
Yeah.
right? I see. I'm not quite as sophisticated as you. That's the rock dude.
Yeah, the
Okay,
rock
got
dude,
it. Yeah. Right on. Okay. What did you call it?
Sisyphusian.
God bless you. Right. Okay. Anyways, but yes, it took me a second, but yes, that is very, very much how my life has felt. Is where I am aware that I have achieved many of the things I set out to, and I'm very fortunate, and I'm aware of all those things, which makes me feel even more guilty. Yes, Jack? This is Jack, my son Jack, and Jack has walked in. And did you need something, son? Sure. Awesome. So Jack is actually very talented at video editing and things, but because he could do this when he was like 7, because he had his own podcast or something. But he's like, I don't know. What?
The mumbles.
Right. But the only way into the building from the house is this way, so he came in this way. That's awesome. I think that's great. I forgot what I was even saying. It was funny because you started looking that way. I'm like, what's going on?
Sisyphus, pushing the rock up, and you never seem to get it
Yeah.
to go over.
For sure. That I've always felt that way, but feeling struggling with that guilt of knowing that I certainly have nothing. Like, I have so many things to be grateful for, that when you struggle with depression anyway, then you feel guilty for being depressed, because why should I feel depressed, you know?
Yeah.
And so that's a struggle within
Vicious
itself.
circle.
Right. It's a downward spiral that once it starts, then it makes it even worse. But, you know, I'm learning coping mechanisms for those things. So, but I appreciate people such as yourself, with the strength to stand up and say who you are and what you believe in. Because I know that you, what did you say you were? Your political. What did you tell me you were?
A socialist.
Yes, no, but there was something. There was more than a socialist.
Democratic Socialist?
That was it. I couldn't remember the exact the description.
I'm part of the Democratic Socialists of America, the people who got Zoran Mamdani into power.
So-
Well, almost.
So you're more than just a self-proclaimed. You're actually a card-carrying member.
Correct. And I do work with them in the city and everything. It's great.
Right on.
Yeah.
I think that's a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a fourth-generation union member, and I agree with any kind of.
We sang actually at our recent GCM at our general chapter meeting just a few weeks ago. I got to play Solidarity Forever for everyone. So it was like, I don't know, probably 150 of us in a room, and everyone singing along together.
That's
Solidarity
powerful.
Forever. It was pretty great.
Singing together in one voice can be a powerful thing.
Oh yeah.
That's a wonderful thing. All right, so let's see. On the board, we've gone through that. We did My Dumb Song.
It wasn't dumb.
We got. I think we're at your second song. So do you have a second song that you would like to do that you have in mind?
Yeah.
Oftentimes I don't. Oftentimes I'm not this well. I don't even think I'll know what I'm going to do until the moment I have to do it. So this is rarity for me.
I mean, same for me. I don't know. I'm gonna make everyone sad. I think it's the venue for that. I guess I can talk about it after I play it. It's called Jacket Weather. It's jacket weather. You didn't show up today. Went home sick yesterday, but everything is fine, I'm sure. Oh, everything is fine, I'm sure. Backpack comes off, my jacket hits the back of the kitchen chair. Her face is down with a pasted smile, but everything is fine, I'm sure. Oh, everything is fine, I'm sure. Laying still with a suit you'd never wear. Cast off one idea of who you were. Laying still with a suit you'd never wear. Cast off one idea of who you were. Laying still. Laying still. And she sits on the floor doing homework with me, but why? Someone's home, parents walking with wet shoes. Oh, everything is fine, I'm sure. Oh, everything is fine, I'm sure. Laying still with a suit you'd never wear. Cast off one idea of who you were. Laying still with a suit you'd never wear. Cast off one idea of who you were. Laying still. Laying still. flesh turns into fire. I run as fast as I can to the place that's mine, bury my face to hide. Oh, I curse with why, how could you take that shine? Oh, the world was blind to the beauty that I could never find. Oh, and everything is fine. Everything is fine. Everything is fine. That's a lie. That's a lie. Laying still with a suit you never wear. Cast off one idea of who you were. Laying still with a suit he'd never wear. Cast off one idea of who he was. Laying still. Laying still. Thanks.
I've heard that one before.
Mm-hmm.
So, what parts of that would you like to explain?
Sure.
Obviously, much of it is pretty explanatory if someone's listening closely. So,
Yeah, it's a frame story. So so you have the verses that are the moment that I found out that my best friend when I was 12, I found out that he died. And then the chorus is when I'm looking at him at his wake. So I'm seeing him buried, or about to be buried. And the song has a lot of meaning to me because I've been trying to write it for decades. Trying to figure out how to encapsulate that moment, that story, in a way that doesn't break me apart. And it's still like I'm still on the verge of tears with it. But because he was also my first love. He was also my first experience being gay, and having to hide it, and him being he was a pastor's kid, and there were so many different emotions and feelings that are wrapped up in him, that really affected me all the way through, even to today. This idea, I remember I went to the youth group the day after he died, and I spoke in front of everyone. I was in 7th grade. I was speaking to all the high schoolers and whatever. And the thing that sticks out to me is I told everyone that live every day like it's your last, and live every day like it's the people around you's last, because you don't know when it's going to end. And that stuck with me, and it still does, because this poet Alok that I listen to a lot, they talk about how we're all going to die, right? We are all going to die, and a lot of people are afraid of that. And when I was in church, that's what we talked about all the time, that sin is death, and that in Christ we have life, right? In reality, we are all going to die, and it's okay, and it's beautiful, because that means that the moments that we have, these precious moments that we have, they burst with life. They mean so much more when you know that there's only this limited span of time, that, like in Ecclesiastes, we are like a mist, right? Our lives are so short and so minuscule, but we are beautiful. We are bursting stars at every moment if we let ourselves be. Mm-hmm. And so that song is an encapsulation of that moment, and reminding me that I am going to die someday, and it's okay, because then I get to live right now.
Mm-hmm. And if you live the right way, then you don't have to be afraid to die.
Yeah. Well, and like even that framing, right? Like there is no right way to live. Like we get to just like be who we are, at all times.
Well, that's sort of what I'm trying to say is like, just be honest with yourself and just live every day. Like, do as many things as you can. It's as you were speaking, I was trying to, the thing that came to mind was one of the things that like, there's never a moment where I have nothing to do. And I know that there's way more sand in the bottom of the hourglass than there is in the top for me, and that there's not nearly enough time to get done all the things that I want to get done. And I don't know what it would feel, what people who are bored, like I've never even understood that. Like I don't understand. I can't possibly fit enough things into the time that I have. And so that's sort of all I mean by that is like, we have but this moment on earth that's but this long, and there's so many things that we could cram into this time. And at times, like part of when I discuss my frustration is because I don't feel like I get enough done.
Yeah.
Like, and so that's all I meant by that is like,
that's what I'm pushing back against, though. So that's the point, is that like we can let go. Like the beautiful thing is that like when we get to live the lives that we want to live, it doesn't mean that we have all these things that we want to cram into our lives. It means that we can let go and just do what our bodies tell us to do, right? Like there is no should, there is no ought. Even if it's things that we think that we should do, by the end,
or if it's things that you want to do.
Yeah, even things that we want to do, because we're gonna be dead eventually, right? There's no looking back on the things that we do when we're dead, right? So we live the lives that we have right now. We take it moment by moment and do the things we can. And because if we beat ourselves up, if we say I should have done this,
that's true.
Then all we're doing the same thing that the people who believe in heaven and believe that we're all going to go there, and that's should be the goal, is to get to the afterlife. I just think it's all self-defeating, because we can just
Beating yourself
fun.
up, I believe, I would agree for sure that there is no point in that. I don't.
Yeah, we can just let go and just do what we want.
Right on.
Hedonism, let's go. Hedonism 2025, I'm here for it.
Well, the song is beautiful for sure, and I've heard you do it a couple of times, and I enjoyed each and every time you do it.
It's about grief, really.
Yeah, for sure.
That's the song.
And it's done excellently. It is a well-written song.
Thank you.
And performed excellently each and every time I've heard it. So I think that's great. Do you have anything coming up that's of any consequence that you need to promote? I know you've had some time off here, so.
I have a show with my band Fall Spring at the Arcada in St. Charles on the 27th, I think. Is that a Tuesday? Can someone tell me if that's a Tuesday?
Of this month?
Yeah, last Tuesday of the month. Whatever the last Tuesday of the month is.
Okay.
So whatever that is. We're gonna be playing at the Arcada at I can't remember what it's called. It's like the little venue.
The Rockin' Ravioli.
Yeah, the Rockin' Ravioli. We're gonna be playing that. I'll be playing bass and doing my whole thing. If you are in Chicago, we're doing a Pride potluck picnic this upcoming Saturday at North Avenue Beach. So you should totally come out and hang out, and it's gonna be great.
Cool.
Food and stuff.
North Avenue Beach is a fun place.
Mm-hmm.
Right on. My band is doing that Rockin' Ravioli next month, so I've done that a couple times. It's a fun place.
Mm-hmm.
It's a silly name,
It's a pretty silly name.
but it's a great room.
Yeah. Join the DSA. That's my other thing. Join the Democratic Socialists of America. Maybe not even them, but like join an organization if you want things to change. There's no point in sitting in our doom. We need to fight.
Stand up for what you believe in.
Mm-hmm.
I agree wholeheartedly. Well, as always, if you're interested in anything I do, melmusic.com, melmuzic.com. My band is doing Rockin' Ravioli, and I had the 13th, but that was changed. You'd think I'd plan this stuff out, like I should, but I don't. Luckily I put it in this this electronic device, and 26th at Two Hounds Red Brewing Company in Glen Ellen. I'm doing an opening set for the Nobodies. That'll be delightful.
Where was that? What time?
That is Two Hounds Red Brewing Company in Glen Ellen.
Two Hounds Red Brewing Company in Glen Ellen. On what day?
Saturday, July 26th.
Saturday, July 26th. At what time?
I don't have it. I know it's on Facebook though. It's on my webpage. So, but I believe it's like 7 o'clock.
Perfect.
I'm the opening set, and then there will be 2 sets from the Nobodies, who are somebody. They're comical and abrasive. And,
I love comical
and they might offend you, but that's what they like to do. So, in fact, next week, Bobby Quattro from the Nobodies will be the guest. So, right here on this live stream, he and his band, they all wear matching shirts. And then last week, Mary Sheridan said, "Do they wear pants?" That's the first time I've heard anybody ask that. So I think sometimes maybe they don't, but
you have to
most of the time I've seen them with pants.
Okay.
I've never not seen them with pants, but I think maybe sometimes they don't. I'm just guessing.
Hedonism.
Maybe at rehearsal. I don't know. And then in 2 weeks, Jackie Carroll, the 22nd. She's the guest, and I think we've made it through the big marker board. That's everything on the marker board. Well, the big question for you is that I usually ask everybody is, what is your why? What drive? Like I sort of said, what drives you to do this? But like, can you think of a? I have a better question before that one.
Love it.
What was the first musical instrument that you ever bought for yourself?
Bought for myself. Wow.
And there's 2 questions that both came from my brother. It's either, what concert did you buy a ticket for yourself, like that your parents took you or something, or what musical instrument did you buy for yourself? Because that tells a lot about the person.
That's a rough
like you
one
saved
for me.
your money and you invested in yourself. It wasn't a gift. It wasn't in anything, but you spent your own money on.
So yeah, for an instrument, oh God. I bought my first electric guitar when I was pretty old. I was like 23 or 24. And it's broken now, and I should probably get it fixed, but I haven't yet. It's a Gretsch Hollow Body.
Oh my goodness.
And it's beautiful and black, and I love her. But she is busted at the moment. But yeah, that was great. I saved up it was like $900 or something. And I miss her.
Well,
yeah.
Not gone, just in need of repair.
Exactly.
That's all right. That's a good answer.
Yeah.
So I guess that brings us to Dumb Joke of the Day, which there needs to be a theme song or a Dumb Joke of the Day. Dumb Joke of the Day started as just I was again amusing myself, and then I actually have writers, and then there's a mailman. This one comes from Dan Gleasack at 910 1147 Boulevard, Portland, Oregon.
Wow. That looks very real.
Dan Gleasack used to order pizzas at the Pal Joy's down the street.
Now I want pizza.
All right. Let's see. Oh, did you know that Josette used to be a lumberjack?
Is that true?
She did. She told me this, but she said they gave her the axe because she couldn't hack it. That's her joke, by the way. I didn't.
Josette. One, how dare you? No, it's good. I like it. It's a good pun.
I just phrased it using. I always take the joke and I reframe it slightly. It was her joke. I just made her the lumberjack, which I thought was funny. I could just see in the flannel shirt and the hat and the suspenders. And
Totally.
Swinging an axe. For sure. I think you could hack it. That's what I think.
A regular Paul Bunyan, Josette
Right.
is.
Paulette Bunyan.
Yeah.
All right, so that brings us to the end of our show. So thank you all for being here. Thank you for being here. Delightful as always, and challenging yet again. Made just a tiny bit of my brains ooze out of my ears, just a little bit.
I love it.
That's what you
My
do.
favorite.
It's what you do. It's your thing. All right, so thanks everybody. We'll see you next week.